Welcome back everybody to the Vintage Telephones channel. I hope you all had a wonderful Christmas. I know I did, even though I brought back a bronchitis again. So I got my annual bronchitis infection, so my voice isn't up to par today. So I apologize in advance in this video. But this video is intended as an update of this Japanese FUSI #1 telephone. I believe it is from 1942. It's hard to tell, but by a little bit of research on the Classic Rotary Phones forum, it looks like it's from 1942. So I wanted to do a quick update. So I got all the casings cleaned up, and I found a spring assembly for the rotary dial. So now it's spinning like it should. Let me just spin it real quick. It was stuck on the thing, that's right. But that's how. So as I indicated, pointed out in my initial checkout video of this telephone, the whole spring assembly was actually missing. So the spring wasn't broken, as someone commented. So I had to go and dig up a spring assembly and fit it in. And it fitted in like a glove. I had to do a little bit of adjustments, but it fits perfectly fine, and the dial is spinning as it should, so that's good. And this whole finger wheel is actually mounted upside down, so I had to do a little bit of tweaking around, and I basically had to take the whole dial apart because it was just so messed up inside. And so far I've got the ringer working, and I broke dial tone, but for some reason the pulses won't work. So I'm gonna have to check all of the soldering in the points here. Let me flip it over. This is the dial. This is basically a Nummern Schalter number 30. Same type of components as found on one of those dials, but then again, it's marked with FUSI 1. Here on the left side, this mechanism that's silver here, that's the speed governor, and it works a little bit differently compared to a Western electric or an automatic electric, because all of the friction, it's not around, but it's this little plate here. And what happens is, let me spin this a little real quick. But if you look here on the back, you see the spring is right there. And if you pull out those rods a little bit, it'll cause a little bit more, or I would say a little more tension, so that the dial spins faster and there's less friction on that plate. But that's basically how it works. And this screw here actually helps you take out the governor because it's mounted against that. So what happens is these little wings here, they go up as it spins, and that's where the friction happens, up there. Then you also have the dial pulse wheel right here. Here on the bottom of the governor, it's actually attached, and the dial pulse springs are the very bottom. There's two springs there with the two, I don't know how to explain it, those two black contacts there, and then the one right below it helps it return in the position that it's supposed to. There's actually a little slot on that brass cylindrical shaped object on the very bottom of the governor there, just below that little wheel. And there's a slit there that it catches on so it doesn't go any further, so that the contacts stay closed. And then you also have the regular gear here, the gear in the center. Also opens and closes the shunt contacts. Of course, they're at the open position now, but they're the open position. So the dial tone will be, of course, you'll hear it when you plug in the phone, but once you spin the dial, it'll cut off. Little mechanism here, you see this triangular shaped piece of metal. It's supposed to catch onto the main gear as you hang up the phone, but the piece of metal was actually already dangling by a thread. So unfortunately, it doesn't work right now, and you can see on the what do you call it? The plunger is attached to this metal piece here that catches on there, and it'll help it. This will basically what happen is when the phone is hung up, it'll catch like that. But once you release, you pick up the handset, it'll relay so you can spin the dial. It prevents dialing a wrong number as you're picking up the phone. So everything has been cleaned up, with of course the exception you got this big chunk of bakelite missing. And I try to be really careful. Actually, I could actually run some polish over that and it didn't even come off. The only way it came off is if you scratched it off. So I didn't lose any of it, which was good. It's in the same condition as it was when I received it. And then you have this is the older style cradle. The later ones, especially on the W28 telephones in Germany, have the bakelite cradle that are similar to the ones found on the W48 telephones. So I'll show you the main chassis here. So this telephone being a single piece of bakelite here, as compared to a German W28 whose base is metal and this can actually come off. It's still bakelite. This has to be mounted on a chassis within the casing. So this is what it looks like on the inside. Very similar to a W28, but then you have your variations with how they made these in Japan. The quality definitely isn't the same as a German W28. I'm assuming because this is 1942, is that they were saving metal for supplies in the war. So I'm assuming that's why they made these out of bakelite at the time. But here is the bottom, or the bells here. The ringer does work as well. Everything is in good shape. I had to reattach a wire to the capacitor. So that's reattached and it's working like it should. But I got to figure out what's wrong with the dial because everything is attached correctly. I checked all the contacts. But and even these I did different combinations because unfortunately I did not take a picture of this before I took these out of the terminals. So I got to figure out what's going on with that. It might be I might need to resolder these wires or put whole new wires in altogether because there was a lot of strain with these where they're kind of splitting. I don't know if that's causing a connection problem, but we'll figure that out. Cords, I thought about washing them, but I decided to leave them as they were because I didn't want to cause any more damage to these. And the restraints I kept on as well. Unless I find something that'll fit, I'm going to keep them as they are. And I know they're broken off and loose, but these are the only things that will hold them into the bakelite housing in this little slot here. So it's unfortunate that they've dried out, but that's just what happens with this rubber. It's just deteriorated. It's just a character of that. The handset is in still good shape. I gave it a good polish. Excuse me. So it turns out that this little ring here that holds in this spit cup here, it's actually metal, but it's also coated on this bakelite. So even though it has a split there, you can see that little brass, kind of a brass color shining through that crack. So it's has a bakelite casing around with the metal. I'm guessing it's a brass ring with the threads, so it won't split in half, which is good. So I had to make sure not to put it on too tight in case without risking the further damage on it. I also wanted to show you, here's the bottom plate. This piece here actually goes on the top of the chassis. So this will hold in by a single screw. Not this screw, I think it's a smaller one. But this holds in the wire, the wire that holds the 3 wires of the dial. And then the wire kind of goes around that, and once you tighten it, it won't come any loose, which is why this part here is lowered. That holds it in place. And of course, these 3 screws attach the chassis to the housing. And then here's the bottom plate. Thankfully, there's no damage to it. I just gave it a quick wipe. Unfortunately, this got ripped a bit, but I think I don't know where I could find some like a glue stick or something to help reattach it a bit more. But I just gave it a wipe because I wanted to save the wiring diagram to this phone. It's kind of cool, that being in Japanese. So yeah, and you know, given this is even bakelite, I'm assuming, as I said a few minutes ago, it was probably their effort of saving resources of metal for the war, because this is a World War II era telephone. So that is the update video of this 1940s Japanese FUSI #1 telephone, which is basically it's Japanese, the German W-28's Japanese cousin, you know, because they were Siemens in Japan. So once I get this going, I of course will have a final checkout video. And again, I apologize for my voice, but I wanted to share this all with you because right now I don't have anything to do, so I didn't want to work on any project. I'm a little tired right now. But once I get the thing resolved, I will have the final checkout video. So I hope you enjoyed this. There's another phone that I'm working on as well that I'm going to post to you all. It's a first checkout video. I'm almost done with it, but I'm going to share it with you once I get a chance. Probably maybe tomorrow I'll post it, or maybe sometime this week. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Happy New Year to all, and thank you very much for watching.